Hello, and welcome to Legends of War. Today's story takes us deep into the past where battles shaped empires, and heroes were forged in fire. Settle in and enjoy the tale. Before nations rose, before kings carved their names into stone, the world was ruled by wind, sky, and the endless grasslands of Central Asia. It was a land of riders, hunters, wanderers, people forged by the unforgiving rhythm of the steppe. And among them lived a woman whose name would echo across centuries, spoken in awe, fear, and deep respect. Her name was Tomyris. She was born to a world without borders. The Massagetae roamed where the herds moved and fought where honor demanded. Their tents rose and fell with the seasons. Their wealth lay in horses, their strength in their unity, and their pride in their refusal to bow to any foreign throne. Their warriors, men and women, alike trained from childhood, mastering a bow that could split bone and a spear that could drop a rider mid-gallop. Tomyris grew in this world of dust and fire, where dawn began with hooves pounding the earth, and nights ended with songs around crackling flames. She learned to ride before she could walk, to shoot before she could speak, and to lead before she ever wore a crown. She was not raised to be a queen. She was raised to survive. And survive she did. When her husband, the ruler of the Massagetae, died, many expected the tribes to splinter, brothers to war against brothers, clans to fall into chaos. But Tomyris stepped forward, claimed the throne, and to the astonishment of outsiders, her people accepted her without hesitation. The elders saw her wisdom, the warriors felt her strength, and the clans trusted her judgment. But far away, a king who had never known defeat cast his eyes upon her lands. Cyrus the Great, ruler of the vast Persian Empire, whose banners flew from the Mediterranean to the mountains of Asia, had built a dominion unmatched in wealth and power. Kingdom after kingdom had fallen before him: Lydia, Media, Babylon. His armies moved like rivers of bronze. His diplomacy was subtle, calculating, relentless. Yet for all the lands he conquered, the Massagetae remained outside his grasp. They were wild, unpredictable, uncontrollable. And in Cyrus's mind, no empire was complete when a fierce and independent nation lay unclaimed on its frontier. He wanted the steppe. He wanted the people who rode it. And he wanted their queen. Cyrus sent a messenger east, bearing gifts of gold, robes of purple, and an offer wrapped in elegance: marriage. The union, he claimed, would bring peace and prosperity. Together, they would rule an empire that touched every horizon. But Tomyris saw through the silk and honey. This was not a proposal. It was a trap. A way for Cyrus to seize her throne, absorb her people, and end her independence forever. She refused him, and in that moment, the fate of nations shifted. Cyrus, unaccustomed to rejection, advanced his armies toward her borders. He ordered engineers to build a massive bridge across the Araxes River, the natural barrier protecting Massagetae territory. If he could not win Tomyris by diplomacy, he would take her by force. Tomyris sent a message: "King of Persia, rule your own people. Do not seek to rule mine. If you cross the river, I swear by the sun you will pay in blood." Cyrus ignored it. He crossed. His plan was simple and ruthless: lure the Massagetae into a trap, weaken them, break them, then strike at the heart of their land. He left a camp filled with food, supplies, and most dangerously, wine. The Massagi drank fermented mare's milk, a mild brew. The Persians drank wine far stronger than anything the nomads had ever tasted. Cyrus hoped their inexperience with such drink would be their undoing, and he was retired first. Tomyris' son Spargapizes led a force against the Persian camp. When they found the wine, they believed the Persians had fled in retreat. They feasted, they drank, they celebrated victory too soon. In the darkness of night, Cyrus's hidden troops struck like wolves descending upon a sleeping herd. Many Massagetae were cut down before they could reach their bows. Others fought with desperate fury but were too disoriented, too outnumbered. Those still alive, including Spargapizes, were captured. When the prince awoke, the weight of his failure crushed him. Distraught, humiliated, and unwilling to be paraded as a trophy, he begged Cyrus for release. The king agreed. Spargapizes used his freedom to take his own life. The message reached Tomyris by dawn. Her son was dead, her people slaughtered, her warnings ignored. No mother, no queen, no warrior could endure such a blow without fury igniting in her heart. She sent Cyrus one final message. "Cyrus, you thirst for blood, so drink your fill of it." Then she called every warrior to her banner. Under a sky streaked with red dawn, the Massagetae assembled. Entire clans arrived, thousands of riders forming a rolling sea of leather armor, spears, and curved bows. Their horses, small but swift, pawed at the ground as if they sensed the storm to come. Tomyris rode before them. Her armor was decorated with patterns handed down through generations. Her braids snapped in the cold wind, and her eyes burned with a fire that no empire could extinguish. She spoke not as a queen above her people, but as a mother among them. "This is not conquest," she said. "This is justice." The warriors roared in agreement. They rode. Across the plains they charged, silent at first, then building into a thunderous wave. Their hooves shook the earth. Their arrows darkened the sky. And ahead of them, the colossal army of Persia awaited. Cyrus had arranged his troops carefully. Shield walls, spear lines, archer units disciplined formations against the tempest of the steppe. His men believed in their king. They had conquered cities with walls taller than trees. They had subdued nations far mightier than these nomads. But what they faced that day was not a kingdom. It was a people whose freedom was sacred. A people fighting not for wealth or expansion, but for vengeance. The battle exploded with a force that chroniclers could scarcely describe. The Massagetae unleashed their arrows in deadly arcs. The Persians retaliated with volleys of their own. Horses crashed into shields, spears splintered. Riders grappled in hand-to-hand combat, blades flashing in the dusty sunlight. The Persians tried to maintain formation, but the nomads fought like water flowing around obstacles, breaking lines, slipping through weak points. Striking then, vanishing before the counterattack even began. Tomyris drove directly into the heart of the fighting. She did not wait behind her troops. She rode into the chaos with the ferocity of a storm goddess, loosing arrows from horseback, cutting through armored soldiers, shouting commands sharp as steel. Every attack she launched for her son. Every blow she struck for her people. Every enemy she felled brought her closer to fulfilling her oath. Meanwhile, Cyrus the king, who had stared down emperors, held the center of his army. He rallied his troops. He fought with his own sword. He ordered reserves forward, and yet the tide kept turning against him. The battlefield was too open. The Massagetae too swift. Their will too unbroken. One historian wrote, "The Persians stood like stone, but the Massagetae moved like fire, and stone cannot hold against fire forever." By midday, The Persian lines began to fracture. The cries of wounded men carried across the plains. Dust choked the air. The clash of metal on metal echoed like thunder. And somewhere in that swirling chaos, Cyrus the Great fell. Some claimed he was cut down by Tomyris herself. Some said an arrow struck him. Others said he died surrounded by his loyal guard, refusing to retreat. The truth is lost to time, but the outcome is not. For the first time in his legendary rule, the King of Kings was defeated. When the fighting subsided, the Massagetae roamed the field to gather their dead. Among the fallen, they found a body dressed in royal emissaries. They brought it to Tomyris. She looked upon the man who had taken her son, upon the ruler who believed no one could stand against him, upon the king who thought he could command the steppe as if it were another palace to annex. Then she ordered a great skin to be filled with blood. She held the severed head of Cyrus. She placed it into the skin, and she spoke the words history would never forget. You thirsted for blood. Drink your fill. It was not madness. It was not cruelty. It was the fulfillment of a vow. Justice in the language of the steppe. With the battle won, Tomyris did not claim Persian lands. She sent no armies to conquer. She demanded no tribute. She simply returned to her people and ruled them as she always had. Her victory became legend, not because she defeated Persia, the greatest empire of the age, not because she avenged her son with unwavering resolve, not because she proved that a woman could stand against the most powerful king in the world. Her legend endured because she fought to protect one thing above all else: freedom. Freedom of her people. Freedom of her land. Freedom carved not into stone tablets or royal decrees, but into the hearts of those who galloped beside her across the windswept plains. Even centuries later, Greek historians wrote of her with reverence. Persian chroniclers, despite their defeat, spoke her name with solemn respect. She became a symbol in multiple cultures, reminder that even empires have limits, and that the mightiest rulers can fall before the fury of those who refuse to kneel. And somewhere beyond the horizon, where the grass ripples like waves beneath an endless sky, the story of Tomyris still rides on the wind. The warrior queen who faced an empire, the mother who avenged her child, the ruler whose courage carved a chapter into human history that time could never erase. This is the legend of Tomyris, and it will be remembered for as long as stories are told.